Hey traders, hopefully everyone had a good weekend and it was a restful one. Crypto was not doing a whole lot. We're going to take a quick look at Bitcoin, not really going to dive into the really any other alts or any other charts that we usually like to take a look at, maybe taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance or stuff like that. But it does look like we have a possible completion of the third wave within a symmetrical triangle right here. If you recall, let's take a quick peek at the 2-day chart to start and then go from a top-down approach. This is our first wave. We think that this is the higher low to this low, creating a series of higher lows. We could have one more, maybe somewhere up here, but as of right now, we are looking at this zone right here to be the low. We have a symmetrical triangle on this low right here, and if we take a look at a smaller time frame, where we currently are is the zone of confluence. We have this zone and this support create additional support at around the 36K zone. So we are looking at that zone primarily within this video, and then what we're kind of conveying, looking at the larger time frames, is if we do break this symmetrical triangle right here, it doesn't mean that we're instantly, that's actually backwards, it doesn't mean that we're instantly going and moving straight up from that point. What we're going to be looking for is a potential consolidation for, not exactly sure, but throughout the summer, maybe into July, maybe mid-July. We'll see how it goes, but we think that this is the first wave. There's going to be a second wave, and then there could be a very small third wave, creating a deeper triangle right here that's a little bit more ascending. Could have a little bit longer of a consolidation, creating the kind of worrying final touch of that level of support, creating a pretty steep descending zone and a slightly less steep ascending zone, creating our level of support. But we're mainly going to be looking at this zone right here, and then we'll figure out what we're going to be seeing a little bit later on, because we could consolidate like that, pressing up against that descending zone. We have two major levels of resistance right there. All we need to have is one more validation to create a very solid descending zone that's hopefully going to be contracting the price before we get our expansionary phase to move to the upside. So let's now move into a smaller time frame. This is the 2-day that we were looking at, dating all the way from March 2020 up until what we're currently seeing right now with the price action there. We saw, in our opinion, was the capitulation event within our bull run, our first real one. The first major continuation pattern was this one that was pretty solid. A lot of people were a little bit worried, but we were just waiting for that break of that descending zone. This is a little bit more challenging to start off, but I think once we get that third touch for the descending zone, it's really going to take shape well, and it's going to be a pretty easy to trade pattern that a lot of even novices will be able to identify ideally. But we're definitely, in my opinion, catching it pretty early. If it does dump, obviously that would be a very different outcome, where we might have to be looking at a potential descending zone this way to create an even larger descending wedge, similar to what we had between around 47 to 63K zone. But as of right now, the symmetrical triangle does look like it's holding, and we'll look at a smaller time frame as to why we think this symmetrical triangle right here is going to hold. So let's look at a 12-hour chart. And first, let's talk about this symmetrical triangle right here. Very well respected. The ascending support zone is pretty aggressive. It's pretty similar, but not exactly, to the descending zone, which in my opinion is great. The buyers are buying up the low higher, and the sellers are weakening because they're not able to get that nice strong descending zone to form that perfect symmetrical triangle. So I guess you could say it's a little bit more of a wedge, but in my view, it's a symmetrical triangle in a potential reversal formation. So like the larger triangle that we are anticipating and hopefully coming to fruition in the kind of summer months here, we see our first wave right here. This is our second wave, and then we see our third wave completion, and we're going to be looking at this zone for a possible reversal for the start of the push to the upside. And at that point, we'll be looking for that larger symmetrical triangle. So it's not like we're immediately going from here to 100K, in my opinion. We're going to have some consolidation before we move to the upside. But we're in our final wave, so we're looking for that break in the price. It can't consolidate forever. Contraction can only take or the price can only contract so much. So at a certain point, it is going to have to break to the either upside or downside, and we are anticipating it will be moving to the upside. Let's just take a little bit better care of our volume when we are looking at the price action. So we do see a descending wedge when we are looking at a smaller time frame dropping from the 4-hour to the 1-hour. We're currently at the 4-hour. We see our first validation, second and third validation of the descending zone, making a very well respected area. And then we see a resistance turning into 1, 2, and 3 levels of support, creating a nice wedge. And we have our midway point to make it a little bit more validated, easy to tell. And we do have a confirmed break on the 2-hour above the major level of support that we're able to see with the descending zone that we just talked about, as well as a horizontal zone of previous resistance turning into new level of support. And we'll even talk about a small little reverse head and shoulders that is right there, which is creating additional validation and, in my opinion, overall conviction for the reversal that we're currently seeing for this third higher low in the symmetrical triangle. So we'll take a look at that in the smaller time frame. Let's drop to the 2-hour, and we'll go to the 1-hour, and that's the smallest time frame that we are going to be taking a look at the price action with. And let's just form the volume a little bit better. We see a very strong initial push from the buyers. Relative volume for the buy side, which is great to see at a low, not great to see when you have like no demand candles. That's not great to see. This is a very strong bullish candle with lots of buy pressure and increasing buy pressure, as we can see, a little bit of a ramp up. Good to see overall on the kind of lower half of the support here. And then we have two formations. We have, like we did discuss, the descending wedge right there, but we also have this sneaky reverse head and shoulders where, let's just take that off. We have the left shoulder right here, the head is right here, and then we have a double right shoulder with a wick protruding pretty aggressively down below the support, but the closure on the 2-hour, 1-hour is actually able to hold above this zone. I believe 1-hour, but definitely the 2-hour and up was able to hold it. The buyers were quick to come in and jump in on that level of support. So we see a nice reverse head and shoulders where we're going to be looking for a potential continuation towards the upper half of this symmetrical triangle. So we have a lot of confirmations for a potential reversal, and then we'll jump on to a 1-hour, and this will be the final time frame that we're going to be looking at. Yeah, on the 1-hour, we even closed perfectly with a candle closure at that zone. Same one with the left shoulder, but we don't have any price or candle closures below that major level. So it does look like, in my opinion, the price action is looking like it has a reverse. On the 1-hour, we see a break with the Confluence Zone right here. Let's just take a quick shot of this. The Confluence Zone is going to be this zone and this zone right around here. And we see a strong impulsive push with lots of buy pressure, increasing relative volume to the upside, completing not just the reverse head and shoulders, but also the descending wedge right there. And we are pulling back very nicely, not too aggressive, not a massive candle. Nice slight pullbacks, as we can see, and then we see a big wick to the downside, indicating buy pressure coming back up. It would be great to see a candle move up from here, creating a not perfect, it's not a doji, but it is definitely going to be somewhat of a hammer with not a huge body. Ideally, you want to see a little bit more of a body right there, closing as high as it can on the candle for the time frame that it was trading during that candle. But as long as we do see that hold of that previous resistance turning into a new level of support, it's going to be looking like a really good opportunity, in my opinion, for the price to then trend, maybe get a little bit of hesitation, and then press up against this resistance zone. And that would be an ideal situation, because on a larger time frame, we then would be trading higher towards this larger descending resistance, where we are going to be looking for some hesitation for the price. But since there was a break, thought I'd make a quick video kind of illustrating why we think that the price will continue to either consolidate within this triangle and then slowly press up, or aggressively. But I do think that the reversal it is in. And a lot of people were really worried because this did break the initial ascending zone of resistance. Like, we could reshape it where we're looking at this low and this low candle closure. Clearly we are already broken below it if we use this trend line, but I am using this zone right here where we did get a little bit of hesitation. On the 12-hour, we see not too many wicks to the downside, but some wicks to the downside. On the daily, you don't see too many wicks to the downside. So overall, in my opinion, it does look like it is holding the larger zone. So we have to, in my opinion, kind of look at zones and Confluence as zones, not exact price points. And with the smaller time frame descending wedge breaking to the upside, on the, let's say, 2 hour and down, it does look pretty favorable for the bulls as of now. So hopefully you got something from this video. If you are patiently waiting, I think it's a great thing to patiently wait in the sidelines right now. Being able to stake the coins that you enjoy, even if you're staking like a stable coin as of right now. If you have sold some of your positions higher up, I don't think it's a bad time to just see how it's going, because it could take another move to the downside. There's no guarantee in the markets. As of right now, I think it is reversing, but only time will tell. So thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time, have a good one, traders.